Hello, podcasters, and welcome to Sexplosion. If you're new to this podcast, my name is Caroline Chenier from CarolineChenierCoaching.com. I'm your coach on all things intimacy, relationship, sex, and super consciousness. So, just before we get into this, let me just tell you a couple of things first. One is that my book will be coming out soon with a pre-launch, so you'll be able to get it totally free. So, watch out for that. Number two, please join me on my TikTok with over 7,000 other TikTokers live every weekday, 12 o'clock UK time, where I talk about everything to do with intimacy and sex, just like today's topic. My handle is at Caroline Sexplosion. So now that's out of the way, without wasting any more time, we are going to talk about sex over 70. Today's guest is Lynn Brown Rosenberg, who got her sexual awakening at over 70 years old. I cannot wait to hear all about it. So, Lynn, a very warm welcome to Sexplosion.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Lynn, let's start from the beginning, as it would really help our audience to get an insight on how you grew up.
Sure. I had a pretty rough childhood. My mother was not at all emotionally available, affectionate, and she took her frustrations out on me, blaming me for a lot of stuff. And when it came to this issue of sex, she invited me out to the patio with her, and she gave me a demonstration with her fingers how sex works.
So show me what she did.
Well, she said the boy inserts his penis into her.
So she did this. She just put her finger through little hole.
Yeah,
okay.
That was kind of her explanation.
Wow. It's more than I got. That
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
And she started crying while she did this. I have no idea why she was crying, but then I started crying too, because she was crying, and I just had no idea what was going on. Why,
You may have said it, but how old were you?
I was about 12. But then I grew up. My dad was affectionate for a while, but anyway, the key to my not being open to sex when I got in my later teens or early 20s was my parents took me to a little resort in Beaumont, California. It's about not too far from Palm Springs. And there was a party for teens at this hotel. And I went, and I met a boy, handsome. He liked me. I liked him. We danced for a little while, and then he said, "Do you want to go for a walk?" I said, "Sure." So I went for a walk, and ultimately we laid down on a cheap lounge. I had never even kissed anyone or anything in my life when this happened. I was 14.
Right.
So we started kissing, and I mean, I knew not to take it any further. I had been well trained from my mother, and so. But
sorry, can I stop you there? So when you say you're well trained by your mother, what exactly how did she train you?
Well, she would diminish anything that I liked or was good for me that I liked, or she made it very clear that nice Jewish girls don't get involved with sex at all until they're married.
Right.
So that was drilled into my head. So I had no intention of doing anything. but the kissing was wonderful.
Ah.
And so we're kissing, and in the middle of all that, my father's booming voice said, "Get up, Lynn." They found me on the chaise lounge outside. And my dad sent the boy away, and I knew I'd never hear from him again, you know.
Mm.
And my mother said, "Any woman who likes sex is a prostitute." Yeah.
That's terrible.
So I was just beside myself.
Not surprised.
You know. And so this contributed to my being, you know, really having a bad image of sex.
Yep.
Me, if I did it. So we left the next day, and that was it. And I never heard from him, of course. But I was overwhelmed by what she said, and all the various things she did, made me very negative about sex.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got older, at 18, I had a boyfriend, and my mother's, warned me again, no sex. And one night we went to his apartment, and we lay down, and I made it clear that I didn't want to go beyond what we were doing. And he said, okay, but he wound up inserting his penis into me. And I was so terrified and closed off. It was very painful for me physically.
It would have been because you were a virgin, weren't you? So it does hurt
Yes,
first time.
I was a virgin. I was a virgin, absolutely.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I didn't get pregnant. God knows what would have happened in my family.
Yeah.
Who knows? So that shook me up, and I asked him for reassurance that, I don't know, he didn't go in all the way or something like that. I wanted reassurance I was still a virgin. And he gave it to me then. But at a party my parents had, pool party, I was going to the restroom, and I didn't know it, but he followed me in there.
Who, your dad or the boy? The boy did.
Yeah, the boy.
Right.
Man, he was 10 years older than me.
Right. Oh, right. So you're 18 and he's 10 years older.
Yeah. And
that's very adult. That's very adult. When 28 and only 18. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
they followed you in.
Followed me in the bathroom. And we started talking. I don't know about what. And I said something like, well, it's important to me to, to stay a virgin. And he said, you're not a virgin. You weren't a virgin when we got together. Well, yes, I was. So I don't know why he did that. What it meant, I don't know.
You must have been horrified to hear that.
I was. I really was. This is somebody that supposedly liked me.
Wow.
That was very damaging. So growing up, I didn't have a very good attitude, certainly about sex. So, but how old was I before I had sex again? I think I was 21 or 22. And, I was still uncomfortable. I had that, I need to be a good girl, conflicting with my sexual desires.
I had exactly the same thing. I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah. And a lot of people in the audience will feel the same too. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
And it affected me when I finally married at 38. It definitely affected me in my marriage.
Yeah, it will do.
because I said to myself, well, I'm married. I need to be a good wife, and not.
The problem is, you see, is that we're told it's a bad thing, you're a prostitute, and then suddenly you're married, so it's all okay now. It's all right now. It's
Yeah,
not. I'm not a prostitute anymore. But you conditioned yourself so much. It's hard to get that out of your head, isn't it?
absolutely, absolutely. So, oh, my husband died when I was about, I don't know, we were married 15 years.
Right.
So I was, I guess, 55, something like that, when he died. And I hadn't had sex in 12 years since he died. I hadn't had sex with anyone. And one day it dawned on me, I haven't had sex in 12 years.
So
And
how old are you by then? 60 something by then.
50, 55.
Oh, that was at 55. You hadn't had any sex for 12 years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I decided to go to a psychologist to see if my medications, had anything to do with this. And it did. The ones I were taking did have a negative effect.
So when you say have a negative effect, what effect exactly was that?
Well, what was the negative
Effect from the tablets, from your medication?
Oh, yes. So the medication could diminish your sexual desire.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Not make you feel like doing it. Yeah.
Right. And so I got my medication changed.
Right.
And then, I was happy about that. And then I went to a urologist for a checkup. And as she walked out the door, I said, I haven't had an orgasm in 12 years. I've never talked to a doctor about sex before, ever.
What made you say it that day?
Because I guess I was so frustrated.
Right.
That I hadn't had sex in so long. I was just bursting to change things.
Had you, in those 12 years, had you had boyfriends or anything and just didn't feel like doing it?
There were several guys I went out with. There was one who lives in my building. It was a big complex in Marina del Rey, California. And he was very cute, very cute.
Was he younger?
No, I think he was around my age. I don't think he was younger. But I remember being attracted to him. And so I was a docent at the Getty Museum for about 6 months. And they had a party. And I invited him to the party. But the more I got to know him, he's really attractive, but he was not at all ambitious. And I was very ambitious. I was getting into business of sun protective umbrellas and hats. And I was very determined and very dedicated to finding out about it. I just got it in my head to do this. And the fact that he was not at all bothered me. And so, I'm sure I gave off the vibes that, those vibes that I wasn't interested.
Right.
So anyway, when my urologist told me to get some porn and a DVD or whatever she said, vibrator. That's what she said.
Vibrator. Oh, some toys. Get some toys.
And some porn. I did what the doctor ordered. I went to the sex shop, which I had heard about. I was in the car for 10 minutes before I walked in because I was freaked out about it. But I was surprised once I finally did walk in the person who helped me, the woman, she was very low key, but not pushy at all. And she just introduced me to this or that, vibrators, and she showed me where the DVD, porn videos are. And I mean, she was so nice. I bought
You were
some.
surprised, weren't you? Because
I
you're
was
not really
surprised.
allowed to enjoy sex and be kind around sex. So that must have been like, oh, somebody's actually really nice in this industry.
Yeah, right. And I was also afraid I'd run into somebody I knew. So I wanted to get out of there fast. But I had such a nice rapport with her that it calmed me down. So after I got the vibrator, I went to the DVD. It was DVDs then.
Yeah.
And got this DVD. And wow, that was unbelievable.
Had you never seen a porn film before?
No, I never. I don't think I knew they even existed. So I got that, and boy, that helped
really got your juices flowing, did it?
Yes, absolutely. I had many orgasms from that.
Very good. Yeah. Just watching the film or with the toy as well?
Of the toy too.
Right. Excellent. Yeah. It's good to hear.
The biggest thing, the most important thing I think that happened with me is that I opened my mind first, and that I have a good imagination and fantasy. My fantasy life is
that's
very
important.
Good. And so I think that's one of the most important things.
You're right. And on TikTok, I'm telling people all the time, there's nothing wrong with having a fantasy. Nothing wrong with it. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody and it's legal, then it's fine, isn't it?
Yes. And yeah, absolutely. So I went back to the psychologist. I started going to him. And I told him about this porn DVD and the vibrator. And I was hesitant to say anything, but he could tell I was starting to talk about sex. And he said, I've heard it all. And that relaxed me.
Yeah, I bet.
I said to him, I'm really enjoying this DVD, but I can't keep going back to that store and buying DVDs. And he said, well, he said, there's free porn on the net. What? I had no idea. So I checked it out, and
good for you.
There was one clip in particular that just knocked me out. It was usually you don't hear any talking in these clips.
No.
But this one, all she did was talk and touch. She didn't have sex with him at all. So hot. And
you were learning all the time, weren't you, Lynn?
Oh my God.
Your life was starting. This was like the beginning for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. So then after a while watching, but anyway, this woman, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it is in my book. And she spoke erotically to him. And she introduced the fantasy of bringing in another woman.
I used to do that.
And she didn't mince words with this. She kept asking him, is this good? Do you like it?
So good to communicate. So good.
Oh my God, that was fantastic. So I went back to the psychologist, and after a while, and I said to him, well, I said, it's great, but I'm kind of tired of it. And also, I said, I'd really like to meet somebody.
Mm.
And he said, well, he said, there are free sex sites. What? Free sex sites? oh my God. And I said to him, I'll think about it. But inside my brain, I said, no way. No way am I going to do this.
Yeah. Did you understand the principle of those websites? You can go look for people and just have sex with them.
Yeah, except for this one. The one I'm telling you about. He didn't have sex with her.
No.
She didn't have sex with him. But he was really enjoying himself. So anyway, after a while, I did check in on a website. And I joined with a fake name, of course, and a picture that was, I was like 55, 56 at this point. And anyway, I joined, and I had these talks, sex talks with these men online. And that was unbelievable too. Unbelievable. That, I mean, I don't have.
It's a whole new world for you, wasn't it?
Yes, a whole new world. And when I lost my train of thought.
Did you actually meet anybody in the end?
Yeah, a few of them wanted to meet me. And I lied about my age by about 15 years.
Oh.
And these were younger men. And I thought, no, I can't ever meet anyone because they don't know that I'm so much older. So this went on for a while. I had this, in fact, this was so exciting to me that it is then that I decided to write my book, because I thought all women should know about this.
Definitely.
So I thought this could really help people, because I was completely knowledgeable about these things. So that continued for a while. And then one fellow, he really wants to meet me. He was consistently talking about it. And so I had to tell him my age. I said, well, I'm older than you. And he said, well, how old? And I told him. And he said, that doesn't matter. Yay. I'm so shocked. Doesn't matter. So I met him. He came in from Virginia.
So how far is that from where you live?
Virginia to California.
That's the other side of the States, isn't it?
The other side. The other
Did
side.
he come over?
Yeah.
Oh, he was keen.
Yeah. And my friends were all worried about me. I mean, he could be a serial killer. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh, I've had that too. I've had the same with my friends. They were worried about me as well. But you were fine, right?
He was fine. He was absolutely fine, except that it didn't go anywhere. So, yeah.
All anticipation all for nothing.
I was so excited, you know.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You thought, this is it. I'm going to be able to practice everything I've just learned. No.
Yeah. So a couple of days later, I left. He left too, and it just, there was nothing else to do or say about that.
So did you meet someone else?
Well, one of the things I did, which was perhaps the most erotic thing, was that I had online sex with a man for a year and a half. And he was so good at talking dirty to me. And so I would respond in kind. And it was so exciting, these exchanges, these text or email exchanges. He was completely open and into it. And I was too.
Excellent. So was he very far away?
Yeah. Oh. He was far away too. Oh. Yeah. So, but for that time, it was unbelievable.
It's been amazing. I've had that same experience. It is pretty amazing, especially at the beginning when it's all new and exciting.
Oh, it was just incredible.
The person I was doing that with was in South Africa. So it was really far away from London, South Africa. It's somebody I'd met in London, but he went home and then continued on Zoom. Well, it was Skype actually at the time. Yes, I know exactly. I can know exactly where you're coming from there.
Did you ever meet him or no?
Oh yeah. I met him at first, and we had a relationship at first, and then he went, but we carried on.
Oh, I see. I see.
Carried on online.
I see.
Yeah.
So how come it ended?
Well, it ended because he just became obsessed with me, and he couldn't have any other relationships because all he was thinking about was me. And the thing is, he was much, much younger than me. So it was spoiling his idea. All these other women weren't like me because obviously I had a lot of experience, and I was very relaxed, and I was comfortable in my own skin, whereas these young women of his age were not. So he found it really, really difficult to deal with. And he had to stop. He had to stop. We had to stop it because he was just, too affected by it all, which I'd never seen since. He was really, 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 yeah. But anyway, that's about me. What I want to ask you now, because this is about you. What I want to ask you. So did you eventually get a chance to actually practice what you'd learned?
Yes, I did. And I was still attracted to young men.
Good for you.
There was one guy who was 40 years younger than me.
Oh, amazing.
40
Love
years.
it.
And it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Love it. So how old were you at this time?
Well, I was about, let's see, how old was I? I could have been about 60 at this point.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't remember how we connected. It was not through one of these sex sites.
No.
But
I'm nearly 60. Wow, I'm 60 next year. So I'm not even feeling old enough. So what this whole I'm going to cut this bit out, right? So are we going to call this 60 sex over 65 or sex over 70? How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 80.
Oh my God, you look amazing. So yes, you do. So what I'd like to ask you then is have you, I mean, if it's a personal question, but this is all about you and sex over 70. So have you had sex over 70 to be able to discuss having sex over 70 with us?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so now let's start again. So I'll just do this bit again. So Lynn, can you reveal what it's like having sex over 70?
It's so incredibly exciting because of this journey I took.
Right.
So
if you can compare it to when you were married to when,
well, there's
what's the difference?
I'm a different person than I was. My like you say, my whole world opened up, a world that I was not in touch with at all. It was brand new to me and terribly exciting.
And so would you say, I mean, you were very different from when you were much younger, when you were married, but would you say that in your mind, you were much more, I mean, this might not be every 70-year-old, but I know that you're 80 now and you look amazing, might I add. But sex over 70 is obviously going to be different for a lot of people. But you in particular I believe from what you're saying was amazing because you were able to let go and you finally let go. I finally let go when I was 46, but it's incredible that you had your awakening a bit later than that, didn't you?
It was actually about 69. I was just turning 70.
Oh, it's incredible.
And that's when I wrote my book. And that's when there were actually a few men, not just one. This one, how old was he? I guess he was 30 something.
Oh, amazing.
73.
Excellent.
we were coming back to my place after having lunch, I guess, or dinner or whatever. And he kissed me in the elevator. And that I've never been kissed in an elevator before. It was very spontaneous and very sensual and
Excellent.
sexy and whatever else you can think to call that.
Oh, brilliant.
So the way I looked at sex and handled sex was that I used to be very reserved, and I didn't care much about sucking a man's cock. But now, and now's a few years, I'm eager to.
That's the difference between before and now. And that was the same for me. It's like I had no inhibitions and it was like, yeah, go for it. But then what happened to me is my menopause came in. And then it's like, whoop, the whole desire went. And yeah, I know. So for you, it's like your awakening was around earlier than the menopause, wasn't it? Do you remember your menopause?
I actually didn't have menopause.
Wow. You're one of the lucky ladies.
It was strange. I stopped my period at about 38, 39.
So young.
Yeah, and I talked to my gynecologist. I said, "What's going on?" And for some reason, he said, "You're in menopause," but he gave me hormones to counteract any feeling I might have, and I had nothing.
Right. So you didn't actually even get a chance to get any menopausal symptoms. No. Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I did. And oh my goodness me, the hot flushes were terrible for me. And of course, the brain fog, memory, joint pain. Oh, anyway, that I did get them. As soon as I had the HRT, all went. Still get brain fog and memory's improved a bit, but the hot sweats have gone completely, thank God. So you were very lucky, actually.
I was lucky.
You were.
I was lucky. I never went through anything.
Cool.
So yeah, I was lucky.
So listen, it's been fascinating speaking to you, Lynn. Thank you so much for being so open with us and telling us everything about your experience. What I'd like to ask you now is give us all your social media links so everyone can get in touch with you, and we'll talk about the book. So what's your social media first of all?
It's Lynn Brown Rosenberg with a BERG @.com.
Okay, that's brilliant. So then your book is called My Sexual Awakening at 70 and What Led Me There. So if you go to Facebook and look out for Lynn Brown Rosenberg, you'll see a link there for Amazon. Do go ahead and get that book and support Lynn and read up all the little nitty gritty detail. Your email address as well, if anyone wants to contact you via email.
My email, lsrosenberg@aol.com.
Okay, cool. And now my very last question, right, as I like to ask my guests, is if you were able to meet the young 18-year-old you again, what would you say to yourself on this topic?
Don't listen to my mother.
Excellent. Don't listen to your mother. No, it's true. It's true, isn't it? Unless your mother's open and very, very verbal and very open about everything. Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Lynn.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So there you have it. Another excellent, exciting conversation there. Don't forget me at link.tree/Caroline Chenier for all my links in one place. I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.